Good afternoon. To the Rotary Club of Tyler for our Thursday afternoon meeting of this week in our regularly scheduled place of Holly Tree. Rotary has core values of fellowship, leadership, integrity, diversity, and service. We also have a mission statement. Part of our mission is to provide service. Say that with me. Provide service. We also promote integrity. Say that with me. Promote integrity. And we also advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace. Say those three with me. World understanding, goodwill, and peace. That's what we help to advance. That's what this club is about. This is the best service club that you will find in Tyler, Texas. One of our ongoing service projects has been in the past and still continuing in the future has been with polio. We had gotten to the point where we had eradicated polio from the world except for in Afghanistan and Pakistan. But as you may have seen in the news lately, there's outbreaks up in New York City, and we've got to redouble our efforts. And toward that end, I want you to see a video of where we've been and what we're about. Rotary is all about ending polio, and we'll have more emphasis on that in the month of October. Now, as we've done in past meetings, take out your cell phone, take a selfie, let people in the community and really in the state know where you are. You're Club of Tyler. Let's all take a selfie and post it on wherever it is you chat, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever. Now, turn off your cell phone. At least put it in the airplane mode, lower the volume, turn it off, whatever it is that you need to do at this time. We want to thank Vicki Conway, who is our pianist, does an anthem every single time for us. And I'd like to introduce Bill Kroom, who is now going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and the National Anthem, and please stand.
Raise the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, sing and you see, I do not surely lie, but somehow we behave at the twilight's last evening, with first lights and bright stars, with the perilous sky, for the backwards we watched, were so gallantly streaming, rockets red glare, no thirsty air, gave through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say the Star-Spangled Banner yet wave, o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Now for Kim Lewis with our invocation and introductions.
Good afternoon. Please bow your heads with me. Gracious and loving Father, we thank you, O Lord, for this opportunity, for friendship, for fellowship, for food, and most of all, for service. We ask that you will just impart in our hearts and our minds all that we can and should and will do for our community. We ask that you will just bless each and every business, each and every organization, each and every person and home that is present here today. And finally, God, we ask that you will just bless our food and allow it to be nourishing to our minds and our bodies so that we may continue your work. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
You may now be seated. And now is the time for the recognition of our visitors. So I'm going to go from table to table so that you can introduce your visitors. Do we have any visitors at this first table?
Yes,
Or
we do have one visitor here that I know of for sure, Mike Starr. Stan, he's my visitor today. Great to have him here. Cheese.
all right, we're going to come over to one of the cheesehead tables.
We don't have that much time.
Let me look at my plate. Okay. Okay. Oh, we got so many guests, I don't remember. Okay, we have Deanna Reese, and she is head of all things art here. You'll see some brochures on your table for the upcoming Rose Festival and the palette of roses and all that she's in charge of. And I want all of y'all to get to know Deanna Reese. You want to stand, Deanna? They can see you. And then my friend, a new neighbor that's moved here from Dallas and very involved in Rotary in the Dallas area, and her husband as well on foundation boards and everything, Lisa Denby. I said Lisa and Bill are new neighbors here, Lisa. And also moved here from California, all around the world. Washington State, okay, gave them too much credit, okay, Washington State. But they're here, and I thought they would be wonderfully, love this program, Kim, because they bought the Caldwell estate out in Winona, and they are rebuilding it and hope to have that as their home. And I thought it'd be a wonderful program for them. This is Cheryl and Randy Weber. They're new to town. And also Janet Major, she's visited before. LaRue, Stan Janet, and LaRue's guest, LaRue Decker's guest. Want to welcome Janet here. David said I could not draft Rainey King, but if Luce doesn't step up his game and talk to his team members so he knows where to sit, I'm going to draft him. There you go, Austin. And we have a member of the mafia here. No. Leland Ferguson promised me he wasn't with the mafia, but this is Sal. And Sal, say your last name.
Capobianco.
See, Sal. And we got a guy over there that's probably Annie, your guess, probably they're related. But Sal, we're so glad you're here.
I'm the Symmetry Financial Group.
Thank you. And Leland. And then I have another guest, Nidra Allgood is my sister. She moved here in December from Gulfport, Mississippi, our hometown. So this is Nidra. Stand. Nidra. She's the evil twin. Sit down. And this is Susie Stein, a longtime friend of mine, and was my campaign treasurer when I ran for city council a few years ago. Yeah, really successful. And Susie is a great businesswoman, was a long time retired from Ken Throwkill. Throwkill is the CFO for a number of years, and now she's doing wonderful things in a new business that y'all have to get to know and have her present someday of how she is helping disabled people get back into the workforce and training them and doing everything. Did I say that enough right? Did I say that? Okay. Let's do that. Oh yeah, you're important. I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. DM as guest.
We're going to try to give Dareth a run for her money. Delighted to have 5 guests here today. Let me ask each one of them to stand as they're introduced, and if you'll hold your applause until all 5 have been recognized. Sharon Bondurant wearing the Miami Dolphins colors. Steve Wiggs next to her. Deborah Clemens. Alexander Firth, and Alexander's the new Director of Community Relations for the East Texas Food Bank. And Dr. David Johnson from the Ragsdale, who's an optometrist with the Ragsdale Martin Group. Let's welcome all 5.
Do we have any guests at this table?
Hi, I'm Annie Dwyer. That's my eye doctor right there, by the way. I have with me Kathy McCandless. She owns Happy Home Residential Services. And so she does, her company does move-ins, move-outs, regular cleaning, and it's excellent. And next we have Ingrid Horner. Ingrid is an artist. She was recently featured at the Main Street Gallery, and her work is just beautiful. Whenever she's on display, you really do need to go and see it. Thanks, Ingrid. And next we have Alex Gona. I always get that wrong. He is with the Texas Minority Coalition. Thanks for being here, Alex. And last but not least, we have Cody Castagno with Finance of America. And I have to tell you, I know pretty much everybody that works for him, and they love working for him. And that says a lot when people love working for you and they stay. So anyway, thanks for being here, Cody.
At this table, I have a guest, Lakedra Lincoln. Lakedra is our community engagement and development officer at Goodwill. Are there any other?
I have 2 guests today. I've got Cynthia Plancarte. Is that right? Did I do it right? I tried. We rehearsed it. And then I have Aaron, and they are from Renew Group Insurance Group out of Mineola. And Ariel's also a student at UT. So glad to have him.
Any guests at this table?
Well, when I moved to Tyler in 2020 and got married to Donna, the only reason I didn't want to move to Tyler, Texas, being a Harley-Davidson rider for 27 years, is that the Harley-Davidson dealership in Tyler was what we called in Dallas stale. And it was. Anyway, soon after I moved here, my friend Joey Rock was, who worked for Harley-Davidson Corporate in Tennessee, was recruited to come down, and he's the co-owner now of the Harley-Davidson dealership on the Loop, Lone Star Harley-Davidson. Long-term plans are for the dealership to be moved. They don't know where yet, but eventually it will. So all of us people in the motorcycle community are very pleased that Joey Rock and his team came down and took over that dealership. So stand up.
I wanted to introduce my really good friend, Sheila Mann. Sheila actually retired from the medical field. She worked for Dr. Payne and Dr. Brown for years. And she's a dear, dear friend to Bill. Her and her husband both are to Bill and I.
This is Hunter Williams. I've known him since he was 5 or 6 years old. Probably my son's oldest friend in the world. And he is a guest and a prospective member. He works as an appraiser for Germania Insurance. And he is a fine role model of the parents who raised him to be very polite.
Any guests at this table?
So I have with me Chris Yarborough. He just started a new development company called Watermark. Everybody just give Chris a good warm welcome.
We have our special friend, Ukraine, Polina Belakonai, with us again. And I think the rest of our table is Polina's fan club. Polina lives at the Wesley House on TJC's campus. And we have Sandy Brink and Mr. Shine, Sadie Brink, excuse me, and Mr. Shine, who are the directors there, who, again, I guess are part of Polina's fan club. And then we have my dad, Charles Hill, who, again, a fan club. So.
My mom's begging me not to introduce her, but I am. My parents came down from Maryland to be here for our grand opening of Skipper's Pier. They drove 1,300 miles to eat gumbo. This is Margaret and Dominic Keepers.
I'll make it quick. I'm honored to have my friend Eric Gaddy here. I'm gonna let him say.
The director of the new event venue coming in Tyler. It's going to where Jackson Square used to be. Yeah, we'll be open in about a month.
Thank you, Paul, and welcome.
Thank you, Kim. DM, did we beat last week's number of visitors introduced, do you think? All right, that's amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. I hope one of the things I learned too, watching all these guests, is Steve Wiggs. I have known for years. In fact, I knew him before I came to Tyler. He was my parishioner up in Texarkana, and I never even thought to invite him to Rotary, but it took Dr. DM. There's people you know that want to be invited, and you just need to think and do it. And I appreciate DM for having done that. Thank you so very much. This is a great time of the meeting. We have now to talk about our international service. Wait just a moment before we get into that. Greeters for the day were Claudia Carroll and Jim Blair III. Thank you very much for your service. We have our International Service Project. Our Avenue Director in that area is Jim Robertson, and I'm going to turn it over to him.
Thank you, Allison. Well, 2 weeks ago, I announced to you that we had a new international service project, and that was to support the program of our own members, Chris and Christy Hill, rendering humanitarian aid in Ukraine. It's not about the war, it's about the people, civilians, who are displaced and need a lot of help. And our board decided to challenge the club to raise a total of $10,000 to support the Hills efforts. And we talked about that 2 weeks ago. I sent a follow-up letter this week, you got one for those that weren't here and so forth. That $10,000 threshold actually was the recommendation of our member Pamela Walters. So we can't let her down, but I think we can even go higher than that with all of these visitors. You can contribute too, so we can go on. Because immediately after our meeting 2 weeks ago, before everyone left, we raised $2,000. And since then, we've raised about another $500, so we're already a quarter of the way there to the 10,000 mark. And as you heard, we've got a special visitor from Ukraine here today, and I'm going to let Christy introduce her again.
First, Kristen, I just want to say we are so thankful for the support of this club, and it just makes us feel really special that y'all have taken on this project to help those that we serve in Ukraine. Want to
introduce you to Polina Velikona, if you've not met her yet, and she is our Ukrainian director's youngest daughter, and she's going to talk to you briefly about the impact that these humanitarian aid kits are having in Ukraine.
Hello everyone. I have this paper in me, but I will try to speak from my heart. So, as you've heard, my name is Polina Velikona. I am 17 years old and I'm from Zaporizhia, which is in eastern Ukraine. My parents, Marina Velikona and my dad, Andrei Velikona, are Ukrainian directors of PHA. So I have known Chrissy for a little bit over, and Chris also for a little bit over than 8 years, I think. I grew a lot since I was 9 years old. I came here to study in Tyler Junior College, mostly because my parents thought it would be a lot safer for me to be here. What I want to say firstly is, thank you so much for helping people in Ukraine. The food and hygiene kits you are providing PHA with to help people in need are very important. A lot of people cannot imagine how it feels to lose your home and to leave everything behind and to start a new, fresh life. But life doesn't seem so fresh. We are right now on 204th day of war, and I have been to many countries and many cities in Ukraine, and I can tell myself, believe me or not, how it feels to leave everything behind. We lose our homes, we lose our friends, we lose our family, and sometimes we just cannot leave everything behind and start a new life. And all of the people that we leave behind are either do not have courage and strength to leave and start a new life, or they have passed away. And people need you, and Ukrainian, and the whole Ukraine needs you. Right now, you cannot even imagine how good it feels to see the people who have been impacted by war, to see how they smile to you and how they hug you with gratefulness and thankfulness in their hearts. What I want to say is, thank you so much. My family, all Ukrainians, and I thank you for all your great influence on PHA's ministry in Ukraine and great influence on the life of people who are suffering from the effects of war. I want to encourage you not to give up and continue in doing this for all of the lives of each man, of each woman, mother and father, all of the grandparents and all of the children, all of the passed away men, women, and all of the ones who are serving in Ukraine right now. Thank you so much. You're really making a difference in the life of Ukraine and in each Ukrainian. Thank you.
I was going to say something else, but I can't top that. So take her words to heart because she spoke from the heart. So let's do what we can to support this organization.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jim. David, you have David Jones on membership drive.
Thank you for supporting the membership drive, and it's obvious we're having a good time, and some are having more of a good time than others. And so I get to report on the status of our program. At the moment, we have 2 teams that have yet to report to the commissioner's office on their attendance. So the Chiefs and the Texans are behind because I don't know what they've done. So the next step is the Saints are at 19. The Dolphins are at 24. The Dallas Cowboys are at 24. And then we have a tie at 27 with the Broncos and the 49ers. And then the Bears are at 32 points. And the Cardinals are at 42. Guess who's at the top? Cheeseheads. So come on, gang. If we're going to beat the Cheeseheads, we got to get with it. But coaches, if you don't mind, when I send out a reminder, you don't have to reply to all the coaches to your data. You can just reply back to me if you don't mind, and keeping track of your team members as well as your guests. And guests, this is a fun club. Love to have you come join us. And I promise we're not always this crazy, but often we are. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, David. You know, one of our core values is fellowship, and boy, we really do work at that really hard. On Rotary business, Rotary District 5830, our district conference, is scheduled to be on Saturday, October the 8th. Cost is $50. It will be, the location will be the Museum of the Red River up in Idaho. If you would care to go, I know there's going to be a group of us going up there. Please contact Holly. Also mark your calendars for our fall social, which is going to be at the home of Mary and, Mary and Henry Birch on October the 27th with a Tex-Mex theme. And Henry's famous jalapeno margaritas are going to be served. Cost is $45 per person. Sign-ups and prepay by October the 13th. Holly wants your volunteer hours that you've accumulated in whatever organization, not just in Rotary, for July and August. Please email her those. We keep track of that. Our program for September the 22nd is going to be Sam Smith with the Hand Up Network. Now, for those of you, that's good cheerleading back there. For those of you who have not been to some of our meetings and don't know this, each week I try to pick on one person and just, say some good things that I'm appreciative about that person for. So today, because he attended, I'm going to reward him with this. Mike Starr, I'd like for you to stand up and face the jurors out there. Mike is, no, you can stand there. I don't want you to get too close to me now. Mike can be churlish, acerbic, insightful, witty. He is a barrister that is well honed in the forensic metaphor. He is a person who, after graduating from law school, spent 9 months over in England as a Rotary scholar. And what a lot of you may not know is that Mike is a former president of the Rotary Club of Tyler. And it's on his shoulders that I stand. If it were not for the outstanding work he did as president during his year, I wouldn't be here. Also, one piece of lagniappe that most of you would not know, Mike, for several months, was my Sunday school teacher. You can be seated. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for being. He is also a great singer. Very good bass singer. I've heard him sing. Okay. We are getting ready for the introduction of the speaker, and I want all of you to take out your inhalers because I'm going to present to you our president-elect. And when she comes to introduce our speaker, she will take your breath away. Here's Trudy.
Thank you, Mr. President. So he picks on one person every week. Okay. Well, I would like to welcome our guest again. We are so happy to have you here at the Rotary Club of Tyler. I'm Trudy Williams. I'm president-elect, and I also am program coordinator. And I want to thank DM for helping to get our presenter here today. I know this was a program that I was looking forward to, and you've heard me say before how lucky we are to live in Tyler. We often have a lot of medical resources available to us. We have so many things that are at our fingertips, but we're really lucky in Tyler to have such an incredible zoo. I have an 8-year-old, and he is going to be turning 9 tomorrow, and I can't tell you how many summers we have spent at the zoo. Loves the zoo, loves everything about the zoo. You can have, I think you can still have birthday parties at the zoo. So it's a really, really great place to visit. If there's anybody in this room that has not been to the Caldwell Zoo, get over there because it's really neat and there's something in it for everybody. So our presenter today is Steve Marshall. He is the president and CEO of Caldwell Zoo. And I talked to him a little bit briefly before the meeting started because I wanted to know how do you get started as president and CEO of a
zoo. Sounds like it might be kind of fun. So he'll tell you a little bit more about that. But his career in the zoo and aquarium profession has spanned over 35 years. He joined the Caldwell Zoo in April from the Audubon Zoo and Park in New Orleans, where he was the managing director. And prior to that, he was zoo director for 12 years at the El Paso Zoo. He also served as the senior vice president and chief operating officer at Zoo Atlanta for 9 years. Earlier, he held positions as executive director of Chehaw Park, an 800-acre park and zoo in South Georgia. Director of interpretation at the Texas State Aquarium in Corpus Christi, and curator of education at the Birmingham Zoo. Mr. Marshall began his career as a teacher, naturalist, and wildlife rehabilitation specialist at a nature center in Tennessee. He received his master's degree in animal behavior from Texas A&M. Woo! Yeah, there you go. Mr. Marshall is a professional fellow of the Association of Zoos and Aquariums and served 2 terms on the AZA Board of Directors. He's a former member of the association's Ethics Committee, the Professional Development Committee, and a mentor with the Executive Leadership Development Program. He served as an instructor at AZA's professional management schools for many years. Mr. Marshall has worked on giant panda conservation. He led the team that established the Academy of Conservation Training for Chinese zoo educators and was a consultant in China for a science museum construction project. His other international travels have taken him to the Amazon rainforest, Mexico, and Africa. This should be really good. Please welcome Steve Marshall.
Thank you, Trudy. Can everybody hear me? Yeah, good. I'm always uncomfortable with introductions, especially ones that are flattering like that. It's also embarrassing because I wrote it. But Trudy, there were 2 more pages, so next time. Just kidding. So the pianist was great, right?
Yes.
Okay. So before she left, I walked up and I said, "Can I have some walk-up music?" And I said, "Can you play Rocky Top?" And she said, "No." And then she left, so she really wasn't going to do that. So anybody here from Alabama? Yeah, okay. So bear with me. I'm from Alabama, so there's going to be Alabama jokes. I just wanted to let you know that. Okay. Also, I before you guys came in here, I did have an animal. Anybody in here afraid of snakes? Yeah, because I had a box, and the staff said they don't know where the snake is. So. Trudy. Yeah. So one of the reasons why we know archaeologists and anthropologists know that the toothbrush was created in Alabama is because if it was created anywhere else, it would have been called a teeth brush. Right? Okay. So I've only been here about 5 months. Excuse me.
That's what I'm wondering.
Do I have to start over?
No.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Trudy, you were doing fine.
But
All
batteries
right.
went.
Well, I'm just going to keep going. Can y'all hear me back there? Okay, I'll project. The question was, how do you become a zoo director? How do you get started? Well, I started as a child. My dad had me out in the woods all the time. We were hunting, we were fishing, we were walking through the woods. He was a woodsman. So was both of my granddads. They both had farms. And so I just loved nature. And from early on, my parents taught me that nature always works together. So when we get to the mission of the zoo, you're going to see that the modern zoo has a mission of making sure that people understand they have a connection to nature. Not that we're going to help you develop your connection to nature, but everyday decisions as a consumer impact the natural resources, the limited natural resources that we share with everything else on the planet. So as I'm talking, if you'll just remember with me that we are in an enclosed spaceship hurling through Earth. We're not getting any new shipments of soil. We're not getting any new shipments of food. We're not getting any new shipments of fossil fuels. We're not getting any new shipments. How's that? Whoa! And now I'm going to take a drink. Hang on. We're not getting any new shipments of fresh water. So we are a closed system, and every component on the planet, honeybees, mosquitoes, alligators, white-tailed deer, aluminum deposits, all we have is what we have now. The only thing we're getting is pretty good doses of solar radiation every day, and we're learning how to deal with that for the good. So that's the mission of the modern zoo. Used to, we just were a place you could come and see funny monkeys that didn't live in your trees at your house. And we got these from the wild and we kept them alive as long as we could, not really knowing what to feed them or what their social needs were. That all changed. In the 70s, when the Clean Air Act, the Endangered Species Act came along, we understood even now, just the accredited zoos in the United States, it's only 10% of all the zoos in the United States, 10%. So the accredited zoos and aquariums in the United States collectively see more attendance than all professional sporting events combined. People still, even though we don't live in the farms, we're not as rural as we used to be, people still have an innate connection to animals. And zoo educators and zoo administrators realized that we could use that love of animals to tell people that they have a stewardship responsibility to share well on the planet. So, everybody seems like pretty serious right now. So let's go on with the program, but I wanted to give you an idea of where I was coming from and where your Caldwell Zoo is coming from. So if you notice today, I came in a little late. I was at the DMV. I actually had to hurry back. My appointment was at 8. I had to be here at 11:30. I had to hurry back to the zoo and get that picture because that's the employee of the month down at the DMV. Okay. So the Caldwell Zoo has been a zoo since 1953. We celebrate nature, we inspire curiosity, and we make memories. The Caldwell Zoo's mission is to be a leader connecting people with wildlife through engaging naturalistic exhibits, fun experiences, and nature-based education that will enrich our community, directly benefit wildlife, and inspire actions for conserving the natural world. That's what your community zoo does for this community. Here's how it started. This was D.K. Caldwell's house with his lovely wife. There they are. And he came to Tyler, I think in 1914. He had done some work in Alabama, back to you back there in the back. He started acquiring animals in about 47 because his heart was for young kids' education. They started some of the first preschools and always used animals, had a collection in the backyard. If you see in 1953, things changed. DK need to come home. There's a bunch of people in the backyard. You see the kangaroos and the monkeys. And so we need to move this. And they started the Caldwell Play School Children's Zoo. Again, traditionally, we've been having zoos for a long time. Milking demonstrations on the right. That's DK in the suit. At first, you're like, wow, that's an amazing dog, right? Well, let me tell you, if you look at the guy on the left, I could do that if I was standing next to somebody with a gun. No disrespect intended. So 1953, the zoo opens. There was a series of zoo directors. I believe the 1960 to 68 guy, he got the job because he owned a chimpanzee. That just gives me shivers, by the way. Hayes Caldwell. How many of you guys know Hayes? Hayes Caldwell. What a great guy. I've known him my entire zoo career. and the several times that I was in Texas. Graduate school in Texas, back to the Southeast. Texas State Aquarium, when it first opened, back to the Southeast. El Paso Zoo, back to the Southeast. And then New Orleans. Who got nation over here, right? Okay, great. Did you live in New Orleans?
Oh, no.
Anybody else? Anybody ever live in New Orleans? Are you glad you're here now? Yeah. Wow, it's amazing. I didn't fit in New Orleans. It's a kooky town. Okay, let me just leave it at that. All right, kooky town. So Hayes and the Board of Trustees for the Caldwell Foundation decided that they're going to make a move. Hayes went up to be president and CEO of the Caldwell Foundation. Just recently, he was named by the Board of Trustees as Director Emeritus of the Caldwell Zoo, well deserved. And so his term as zoo director stopped in 2022. When I got here, maybe in a few years, somebody will do a slide presentation. My name will be up there. So we are accredited by the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. Like I said, it is a trade association and an accrediting body. Your universities in town are accredited, your hospitals are accredited, maybe fire and police, but it doesn't have to be. There's 2,500 zoos and aquariums in the United States. They have to follow the rules by the federal government. The rules aren't very tough if you've ever seen a roadside zoo. They're pitiful and they're sad. Accredited zoos have to follow all kinds of rules. To apply, you have to fill out the equivalent of three 3-inch ring binders of all your financials, of all your emergency plans, all of your staffing regulations, and how you care for animals and their well-being. So in the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, we've picked a series of top endangered species that need help, and collectively we work together. So my herd of zebras at the Caldwell Zoo is a group, but it's not a breeding population. So I'm sure y'all can understand that, because once we have some young ones, and then you have to have some new genetics, right? Except in Alabama, and we don't care about that, okay? Because actually, my uncles, they thought that a family reunion was a great place to pick up girls. So, and you know, Alabama doesn't have a state crime lab, right? No state crime lab in Alabama, because there's never enough dental evidence. Wait for it, and the DNA is all the same. So we've got black rhinos in this saving animals from extinction. African lions. At one time, turn of the century, there were probably 500,000 lions in Africa. Now there's probably 40,000. And most of these endangerments are because of human-animal interaction. And think of each one of these animals as a piece, a cog, a spring, a lever, and an alarm clock. And the first rule of tinkering is what? Keep all the parts. Okay? Keep all the parts. African black-footed penguins. They're on the coast of South Africa. Their marine ecosystem is highly endangered. We have giraffes. You know, when we're paying attention to elephant poaching and rhino poaching, we realized that the population of giraffes had dropped by 75%. 75%. Jaguars, we're going to talk about the rainforest exhibit we're building. They're a member of the Saving Animals from Extinction program that we're in to collectively to breed those. Cheetahs, some of my favorite. And actually, Caldwell Zoo is renowned because we are in a membership of 8 other zoos that are a consortium of experts that breed cheetahs. In 2020, during COVID, we had a female give birth to 3 cubs. The year after that, we didn't have any, and the year before that, we had any. They're very selective. Way to go, girls. Keep it up. But they're highly endangered. And see, I think that you guys probably know that India is celebrating its 75th anniversary from being a colony of Great Britain. They haven't had cheetahs on the continent for 50 years. 50 years. It was an Asian subspecies of cheetah. So our consortium and the country of Uganda has gotten with the government of India, and there's going to be a 4 breeding pair that are going to be reintroduced into a special park in India by the same people who reintroduced the tiger and saved them. Speaking of saving things, zoos and aquariums and a lot of federal agencies have saved the California condor. We were down to 28 of those animals on the planet. Black-footed ferrets, only found in North America. We were down to 12 of those. There's another one in my head. Oh, well, whooping cranes. I believe we were below 20 of those, and now those are making a comeback too, simply because of the breeding programs that we do, like the cheetah. Here's one for us. Anybody know what that is? That is an Atwater's prairie chicken. They were only found in Texas and Louisiana. Louisiana lost their last one at the turn of the century. There's only less than 200 left on the planet. They belong to us in Texas. And we are propagating them and reintroducing them into a special reserve outside of Houston. These guys are awesome. I like chickens anyway, and this guy just blows me away. He'll beat any tropical rainforest bird you've ever seen. He's a member of the grouse family. Those air sacs on the side that are yellow during breeding season, he inflates them and then booms out of them and then has a little dance where he just picks his feet up really fast. The girl chickens go crazy. Right? They absolutely lose their mind and they can't help themselves. And unlike cheetah females, they're not very selective. So if you ever go into their habitat, don't stomp your feet up and down. Or I'm not going to guarantee what would happen. How about that? That's pretty cute. We had 12 chicks this year, and we kept about half of them for breeding stock, and we were making sure that they're all unrelated. What's that?
It's a horny toad.
That's right, a horny toad. I love saying horny toad because where I grew up in Tennessee, we didn't have horny toads. I knew about them, and it's just fun to say. Texas horn lizards. How many of you saw these when you were a kid? How many of you have seen one last week? Does that bother anybody?
Yes.
Remember I said if we're going to tinker, we better keep all the parts? Yeah. Probably fire ants and overuse of pesticides have accounted for their disappearance. But once again, the Caldwell Zoo is doing what we should. We're propagating and reintroducing. Those little guys, you could probably fit 3 of them on a dime when they're hatched.
Oh my gosh.
We go out and collect termites for them to eat. And their food in the wild when they grow up is harvester ants. Again, fire ants have decimated the harvester ant population. So there's a special reserve in the Texas Parks and Wildlife has eradicated fire ants within a certain range, and we're reintroducing these things. And I got this picture today. Not that one. Oh, that's cute too, right? That picture is of a hatchling we released last year, and we had radio tagged it right there. There's a little radio tag on this female. And so that tells us that they're now breeding age. We're hoping that the radio tag on the female will drive the guys crazy, and they'll get to know each other. They'll go on long Texas sunset walks at night and have lots of babies. Got that picture today. My team is out there in Central Texas right now. So Africa, we've got the 3 African elephants. We got 2 from San Diego. Again, cooperative. They're bulls, and we're gonna do a bachelor herd of bulls. We got giraffes. We got cheetahs. You know, and isn't that cute? I mean, I don't care who you are. That's cute. But I got a cuter slide than that. That's me. I love that picture. Okay, North America. I only have a couple of slides of our North American collection. Ocelot, puma, and we've got longhorn cattle. Is this my hook? Are you standing up to be? Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay. So it's not only about just seeing the animals, and again, we are building those experiences, but we have other things to build the community. We've got animal encounters behind the scenes. We do birthdays. We got camp. We got teen volunteers. We've got homeschool, zoo school, and we've got Boo at the Zoo coming up. So be sure you do Boo at the Zoo. Now, if I had a nickel for every time somebody came up to me and said, I hadn't been to the Caldwell Zoo since I was a kid, I don't want to hear that, okay? What I want to hear is, I took my grandkids, I took my great-grandkids, I go with my adult children, or I go by myself. It's a great place. We have a little-known admission policy. You do not have to have children on your ankle as you come in the zoo. You come by yourself, and it's made for everybody. So the next phase is we're going to do South American River's Edge. This is our premier animal, giant river otters. Okay, so if you look at your table, a river otter, North American river otter that we have here in Tyler is going to stand up about that tall. Okay, from the table.
Oh, okay.
Okay, from the table. Okay, a giant river otter standing on the table is going to be like that. Okay. They're only found in the Amazon basin, and they're going to be one of our premier species for Amazon River's Edge, opening in the spring of 2024, along with jaguars. By the way, we're starting a travel program. We'll be doing a trip to the Amazon and Galapagos in 2023. Call me. You can go with us. Okay. Now I'm gonna do time for questions. And I did have some trivia questions to ask with some tickets if we have time. Maybe I've talked too much about Alabama. Don't know. Questions, comments, or snide remarks for me? Yes, sir.
Why is it still the policy that you have to make a reservation to come to the zoo?
Okay. During COVID, we had time blocks and time tickets to spread the crowds out. What we found, and again, we're not for profit, but that just means we still have to pay our bills, right? So we found that our per caps in the gift shop and at our restaurant went sky high when the crowds were thinned out. So we encourage people to sign up for a time slot, but we will never turn anybody away. Okay? Long answer, but you guys need to know that. Yes, back there?
First of all, just wanted to say, this is such a lovely presentation, and I've been here for a long time. It's been really beautiful to watch the zoo grow and expand. And I know at one time, Mr. Caldwell didn't allow there to be an entrance fee, and that was a very long time ago. But the history of it is magnificent. But I wanted to ask you specifically about refuges. Like we have the Tiger Refuge north of town. Are there restrictions on those places and how animals are treated?
Well, they still have to follow the U.S. Department of Agriculture Animal Welfare Act. And it's basically, and I don't want to cast shadow on anybody because people have different missions. Our mission is a lot about experiences and connections and efforts to help with conservation. A sanctuary is just a forever home for an animal that should have never been where it was to begin with. But the USDA rules are you have to have shade, you have to have fresh water and food, and enough space to turn around. Okay. So and there is a sanctuary accrediting body. Every bit helps. Okay. Every bit helps. Yes, ma'am.
I'll just put in a plug. We've always had membership to the Caldwell Zoo. Great gift idea. If you don't know what to get your kids for Christmas or grandkids, get a zoo membership. It's wonderful.
Okay, I got a couple of trivia questions, and Trudy, would you give out tickets when somebody gets it right? Okay, what North American animal has the most teeth? North American land mammal that has the most teeth? You got to guess. What? North American land animal. Land mammal. I need to come back and do a little. North American land mammal. Mammal. Virginia possum right here. It's two tickets. Very good. Virginia possum. Okay, in a hurry here. Here's one. Vertebra does a giraffe have? Neck vertebra.
The same people.
She gets 2 tickets right here. Nine. They're just big as hell. So, all right, what's a group of otters called? Okay, I'll do a multiple choice. Okay, since nobody's trying. Is it a swim? Is it a mess? Is it a romp? Or is it a raft? Okay, who said raft first? Okay, can you do tickets? Who said a romp? It's also that, but you don't get any more. Okay, all right. Nobody gets tickets for this, but I just found this one. What's a group of turtles called? A bale. What? Who cares? Right? Okay. What about squirrels? Oh no. What about squirrels? Is a group of squirrels called a bother, a scurry, or a begging?
Scurry.
A scurry. Let's scurry first over here. Got it? Okay. What about a group of flamingos? Is it an elegance, a flamboyance, or a chorus line?
A chorus line.
Flamboyance. Okay, you get some more. What's a group of crows called?
Murder.
Some other really good ones. Okay. What about vultures? A group of vultures flying is actually called a kettle. Kettle, that's not the question. Okay. What are they called on the ground? Here's some choices. An undertaking, a sadness, a wake, or a buffet. It's a wake. Who said wake? Okay, tickets. Here.
She's over there.
No. Tickets over here. Okay. Which of the following is a type of animal that has not adapted the ability to glide from tree to tree in the rainforest? Not. Is it lizards, snakes, frogs, or turtles?
Turtles. Gotta be turtles.
It's turtles. I'm just kidding. It's turtles. Okay. All right, last one. What is the name of the fish in East Africa that is a member of the air-breathing catfish family that calls to potential mates in nearby ponds? Is it the whispering tula, the screaming wapuzi, the howling utobo fish?
Howling utobo. Howling utobo.
I just made that one up. It doesn't exist. That's fun. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for a great program. Very entertaining. Come now to the A's and Diamonds. And let's see, remember that the drawing is for the club. One half goes to the correct ticket winner. If the winner's a guest, that guest will receive 25%, and the sponsor will receive 25%. And what are the proceeds? What's the amount for today, JB?
We got $433.
$433, and we will have our speaker to draw the winning ticket.
The last 3 numbers, 305.
305. Who is that?
Okay.
That's gotta be Lisa.
Come up and see if you can win.
Okay.
Okay, let us stand for the things we think, say, or do. First.
Is it true?
Second.
Is it fair to all concerned?
Third.
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Fourth.
will be beneficial to all concerned.
We are adjourned.